Thank you for choosing to learn more about the multidimensional data conversion solution offered by the Financial Copilot. Our mission here at the Financial Copilot is to make comprehensive migration to Intacct more affordable, fast, and easy. What is the multidimensional data conversion solution? Well, it's a process that migrates your detailed historical transactions in the general ledger or in the subledger from any legacy system and imports them into Intacct, especially for a multi-entity environment, and we are optimized for QuickBooks. Major problems that we see during the historical migration process that causes for our solution to be appropriate include the fact that data migration tends to be very time-consuming. It is also usually very complicated for most clients, and it's not a great use of time. Specifically, what we've seen as the best use of initial client time surrounding Intacct includes and involves them training as well as spending time strategically engaging the system, meaning learning how to set up their dimensions, understanding the power of some of the choices they can make, as opposed to spending time getting into the guts of their own data and trying to fill out templates to get the data across. The other thing that we see is that customers tend to make unforeseen errors in trying to migrate their data. Currently, there are 63 different error types that we check for when migrating data from instance of QuickBooks Desktop. And so if you're not looking for some of these errors which can pass completely undetected into the new system, you won't even necessarily know to look for them until you're trying to validate, and it can be very confusing, time-consuming, and frustrating. How these problems generally affect most of the customers that we see includes, one is a limited historical reporting capabilities. That means if this data set is just too simple going in, if they're using just simple trial balances or summary balances, they won't have access to the full richness of the data that they had in their legacy system. Also, without fully dimensionalizing the historical information that's coming across, they miss out on the opportunity to take advantage of some of the amazing capabilities that Intacct has, specifically around knowing more about departments or locations or any of the available dimensions that are there, simply because the migration event was just too simply designed. The other thing that we see is that a lot of times if the data migration is not designed effectively, customers have a requirement to maintain their legacy system. So they have that machine in the corner that runs an old version of QuickBooks, and that's assuming that particular database will remain stable over time, will not crash, or that people in the office continue to know how to use that legacy system. Associated with that particular problem is non-contiguous multi-period financial reporting, meaning if you have to get reports from the legacy system and combine them with reports that you're trying to run in Intacct, you're going to have to do an export event that combines them all, and all of that is, in many cases, can lead to inaccuracies and is potentially unnecessarily time-consuming. And then finally, we also see that to have the learning curve to be able to effectively migrate your own data or to do it a different way can also lead to a significant loss of time. So we suggest the multidimensional data conversion system for specific customers for whom it's appropriate, because we avoid a lot of those hassles, because our system is fast. You're able to migrate all of your detailed GL, AP and AR subledger detail in days, not months. The system is flexible. A multi-entity data migration from any legacy system, and currently we're optimized for QuickBooks. The system is easy. We see on average an 80% reduction in customer time spent focused on data migration activities, because all the customer really has to do is ensure that the maps that we have governing the rules for the migration have to be correct, and then they validate the data once it's gone into Intacct. Those are really what we've designed the experience to be for the vast majority of our customers. Next, the solution is turnkey. We include auto-templating of vendors, customers, employees, classes, and projects, and we create their import lists and complete the data maps in a first pass scenario, meaning that the customer has a lot of this work done for them ahead of time, so that all they really have to do is validate, edit, confirm, and then resend to us for final processing. And then for the VARs and IAPs out there, one of the things that we have been able to see is an improvement in the way that you're able to convey the value of Intacct, in that if you appropriately create dashboards that tap into the power of fully dimensionalized historical detail, showing the customer their data right there on the spot with newly populated information that they can relate to, dramatically changing the power of Intacct being able to be displayed to the customer before you even go live, which is very, very attractive for VARs that we work with currently. Let's just quickly talk about the GL detail migration process. First, the customer starts with either sending us a backup of their QuickBooks file, or they simply export legacy reports and dimension lists if we're not talking about QuickBooks. Second, we respond with scrub lists as well as a first pass mapping for all selected dimensions, meaning we give based on the specifications and some of the conversations we have, we will send you what we think needs to happen for the data to be transferred between systems based on the rules that you create. Then the customer will confirm or edit the mapping information, configure to the dimensions in Intacct as they desire. Then we coordinate the processing and loading of the data into an implementation instance. The customer validates the information in the implementation instance, and then we load live. So it's really that simple, and those are the steps that we follow. If you are interested in our solution and you believe that this may be something that's worthwhile for you to explore, please contact us at 910-221-4567 or send us an email at mdcs@financialcopilot.com. Again, the number is 910-221-4567 or send us an email at mdcs@financialcopilot.com. Thank you so much for your interest, and good luck in your migration to Intacct.